Hey there, Joy Knight with the sales team at Century 21 Right Real Estate in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Another one of my big questions that I get is, what is a home inspection? So in the state of Oklahoma, we are not required to do home inspections. It is just not a requirement in the state for you to get a loan. Obviously, your lender, if that is the route you're going, is going to require an appraisal, but an inspection is not required. So I am not a home inspector. I am not an appraiser. So if you want to do a home inspection, I can give you numbers and contacts to do that. I try to give 2 to 3 inspectors' names and numbers to you so that you can kind of shop around and see what the best deal for you and who can work with your schedule. Because it usually runs between $200 and $400, just depending on the size of the home. If there's a crawl space, it depends on the inspector. And you would call them and get that scheduled. You're not required to be at the home inspection. It does have to get done before your 10-day inspection period is up. So you would obviously want to be checking to make sure that their schedule is open to be done, before the 10 days is over. So the inspector, they'll call the listing agent and get that scheduled. They'll go and look at everything. They look at the electrical, plumbing, roof. They'll crawl under the crawl space if there's a crawl space, just everything. If you have decided to go, which you're not required to be present, but if you do go, I always recommend going the last 10-20 minutes of the inspection, just so that you're not in his way. He can get what he needs done without distraction, and then when you get there, then he can go through the report and point out any big issues that he found during the inspection. Obviously, you're not going to be able to remember everything that he goes over, because sometimes the report is between 20 and 50 pages long, so that's a lot. So he will email you the report, and you can have it in your hands, so makes it nice. You can go through everything, and if there's anything major that you want to ask the sellers to repair, then you come to me and we do what's called a TRR. So the inspector works for you. So he is going to go through everything with the house. I'm going to pick apart everything with the house. But it's not necessarily the seller's job to fix everything that the inspector called out. So what we do is we type up kind of your biggest concerns, and we put them on a piece of paper, and we submit it to the seller. The seller has 7 days to decide if they are going to be able to fix those things or not. They can get bids, if there needs to be an electrician to go out there, plumber, whatever, because we're going to ask them for things to be in normal working order. So if the plumbing isn't working, if there's a leak, if the water heater is not heating water, stuff like that, we can ask them to fix. So they have those 7 days to decide if they can do it, to get those bids, and then they'll come back to us, sometimes with what's called an amended TRR that has some changes on it, or they'll just say no, or they'll just say yes. So if they say no and you're not comfortable purchasing the home with the current issues, then we would cancel the contract to get your earnest money back. If they say that they will fix them, or they'll fix some of them, and you're okay with that, then you are still locked into that contract, and they will move forward with doing those repairs. So after the repairs are done, we don't just take their word for it, the seller's word for it. We ask for any kind of receipts, invoices, and then we have the option to re-inspect the home. You can rehire the inspector. They usually charge $50 to $100 to re-inspect the repairs. They're not doing a completely new inspection. They're just looking at the repairs that we asked for on that TRR. Or you can look at them yourself and make sure that everything looks good. And then of course get those receipts and everything as well with the visual inspection. So we would do that right before closing, and if there's anything that they missed or didn't get done correctly, then we would go back to the seller and have them redo it. So Anyway, yep, that's kind of what a home inspection is and the process. After all that's done, then they kind of move on to the next stage, which is, you know, appraisal and title work. So it's a busy first 10 days, but it's worth it. Thanks.